Hi, everyone. I am Donna Reid, and this is Donna Reid Talks Voice. And in this episode, we're going to play with vowels. So, one of the things that people don't realize is that the vowels are not primarily formed with the mouth, they're formed with the tongue. One of the reasons why I preceded everything with the ga 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 and getting the tongue free and the gla gla glas and all of that is so that the tongue is mobile to do the vowels for you. So, we're going to go back to Nellie. Nellie. No, I'm gonna have you do it on the chest voice. And we're gonna do it, no, we're gonna do it there. And you're gonna do I, A, O, and try to form the vowels primarily with your tongue, not so much, don't make your jaw stiff, and your lips can look like the vowels that they're doing it, but it's primarily I, A, O. Now, I'll give you a hint, and I know you know this, but I'm telling my listeners, the tongue kind of goes like this. A, it moves up a little. E, it moves up a lot. O, it kind of grooves, and oo, it grooves a little bit more. So there should be this excursion of the tongue like that when you go through I, A, E, O, U, and just let your tongue move and see what happens with it.
I O.
Yeah, and I can see everything moving. How's that feel? Easy peasy, right?
Yeah, super easy.
Now, I'm going to make you go up the octave, do it on the head voice side, but the same thing. See if there's a difference in the movement of your tongue. Except for a little funky at the end, right? Did you run out of breath?
No, it was fine on this end. It maybe was I don't know, maybe it was audio. It was actually okay on this end.
Oh, okay, fine. Could have been an audio thing. Now, how did the tongue movement feel? Bottom and top, similar, not similar?
It felt similar except in the ooh.
Okay, and what was different in the U?
It felt like I had to give it a little bit more room on the higher note than I did on the bottom.
And that makes perfect sense. Not that we're high,
Right.
but it is higher than the lower one. So
Mhm.
then instinctively, your brain said, oh, wait a minute, I have to do something a little different here.
Mhm.
Now, I'm going to have you do this. Now, this is right in that passaggio area. Same thing. Notice how your tongue moves. So, what did you notice with that?
Not much movement at all.
There you go. And I heard every vowel. So maybe the tongue doesn't have to move as much, but let's play around with this.
Okay.
Do it again. Let your tongue move more. Let's see, does that disrupt everything or does
Okay.
it make it better?
Okay.
Well, I didn't like that at all.
It made like such weird sounds for each one. And I guess like if you wanted to do that, you could, but it wouldn't, I don't know why that would serve you ever.
Correct, correct. But this is how, and I really emphasize this phrase, this is how you play around with your voice. You say, oh, I'm going to move my tongue a lot. Well, I don't like that. Well, I won't move my tongue as much. Oh, that sounded good. And the bottom line, no, neither of them felt constricted, but we could hear that the sound was better when you didn't have to move your tongue so much up there. But you certainly moved your tongue more there and you moved it more there. And we're going to get into words in a second, but I'm going to move on. Martin.
Wait, I have a question. I have a question.
Sure.
What happens on the bottom can I retry what happens on the bottom if I don't move my tongue?
Oh, good idea. Yeah, let's do that. It's just a different sound.
Yeah, and it just feels a little the word I want to say is lazy. Like it feels just a little mumble mouth.
Yeah.
Like if you were like bleh, bleh, bleh.
Yeah. So if you were to have to say words down there, then that might be a problem if it doesn't move too much. Because when I get to the sentence, then I'll explain about how we resonate words.
Okay.
I'm going to keep playing around with these vowels. Martin, let's see. Let's have you do it not too high, not too low. Let's do it there. So I, oh, let your tongue move a lot.
I-O.
Good. And how did you feel? How it sounded like it was moving a lot, right? Now, do the same thing up here in a falsetto.
I-O.
Good. And again, was there more movement in the falsetto than the chest voice, or they're about the same, or?
They're about the same for me.
Okay. And again, the vowels seem very distinctive. I could hear the vowels, and you
Yep.
feel the tongue moving up and down, right?
Yep. Correct.
Okay, beautiful. So, Michael, same thing. Let's do I, O, U. Just let everything move around.
I-O.
Now, the vowels were great. I'll tell you what I'm going to fuss with. I didn't like the initiation of the first note.
Okay.
Did you notice what happened?
Mm-hmm.
It was a little bit of a glottal thing.
Yeah, it was a little, and which I've noticed lately. I'm doing that a lot lately.
Okay, so without telling you, oh, just fix it, I'm going to help you fix it.
Okay.
Started with an F.
Okay.
So, Fi-O, and then let everything move.
Fi-O.
I even liked how the rest of the phrase went after that.
Totally. Yes, totally.
Now, can you start with the idea of the fa, a little bit of that airflow, but start with the ah?
I-O.
Brilliant.
Yes. Yeah.
So good. So that's something that I'm glad you did that glottal thing, because I'll just do an aside and tell people about that. People don't hear, but you heard it, obviously you addressed it.
Yeah.
People don't hear when they do a glottal or not. I am not against glottals. You may be singing a piece of music. You may need a glottal. You may need to say, and that's important, or whatever. Do a glottal, but it has to be conscious.
Yeah.
Do I want a glottal when that word begins with a vowel, or do I not want a glottal? And that has to do with, does the character need to say that word with a glottal, or do they need to say that word without a glottal? Depends on the emotion, depends on what you're doing. So something that people should be extremely conscious about, because it's usually unconscious. But now I'm going to have you do the same thing in a falsetto, but I'm going to have you go up much higher. I-O. Great. Now, did you notice more or less movement than the lower one?
More.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, I like both of them. Everything's distinctive. You know, and now that what's really interesting is that Nellie, when she went the higher part of her voice, she said, oh, there's much less movement. You're feeling more. But then again, you're male, it's a falsetto, hers is a head voice, it's a different mix.
Mm-hmm.
Different circumstances, different results, right?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Okay, Lorraine, let's have you do the same thing. Let's have you do it here in the head voice. And how does that feel? Do you notice the movement of your tongue?
Yeah, I mean, the tongue was a slight, but it felt pretty easy.
But you didn't notice a lot of movement?
No.
All right, I'm going to do the same thing I did with Nellie. Move it more.
Okay.
Let's see, does that disrupt things or does that help? What did you notice?
The space felt larger a little bit. It just felt like there was more room when I did that. Maybe it made it a little fuller. That's about it.
That's what I heard. I heard a much fuller sound when you moved your tongue a little bit more.
Yeah.
Again, neither of them were constricted. It depends on the kind of sound you want to make. But know that when you gave that little bit more room because you moved your tongue a little bit more, a fuller sound came out.
Yeah.
So again, one of those little things to notice, oh, if I do this, then my voice does that. But now I'm going to have you do the same thing in a chest voice.
I-O.
And what did you notice with that? More movement, less movement?
Maybe a tiny bit less than what I just did.
Okay.
It still felt fairly full, but it was I don't feel like my tongue was really going.
A lot. All right. Let's do the same thing and exaggerate the tongue movement.
I O.
I don't know that I like that better than the other one. How did it feel?
It's fairly similar. I didn't feel a huge difference.
Okay. I think I like the first one a little bit better. Maybe the second one's a little more contrived, a little bit more exaggerated, but no biggie. So now that we've played around with the consonants in the episode before, the vowels in this episode, now we're going to see how this applies with actual sentences and words. Thanks for watching Donna Reid Talks Voice. If you have any questions for me about this episode, or if you'd like to join me on a future episode, please visit DonnaReidTV.com and click Contact.